Billionaire comes home at 3 a.m., finds mom crying the shocking truth will haunt you forever. The clock struck 3. The world outside was shrouded in darkness, but inside the gleaming mansion, shadows danced in the flickering light. Derek Carter, a self-made billionaire, walked through the front door, ready to unwind after a grueling day. He expected the usual silence that enveloped his opulent home. Instead, he found his mother, Sarah, crouched on the plush, white rug, tears streaming down her face. The sight hit him like a punch to the gut. "Mom? What happened?" He barely managed to choke out, his heart racing. The air felt thick, almost suffocating. He stepped closer, his shoes muffled against the soft fibers, his pulse pounding in his ears. She looked up, eyes wide and haunted, as if she had seen the devil himself. Her hands trembled, clutching an old, tattered photograph. He could see the pain etched into her features. It was as if she was mourning a loss beyond the tangible, something that gnawed at her soul. Shadows flitted past her eyes, flickers of memories that should have stayed buried. Derek's mind raced. Had something happened to his father? Was there a family secret waiting to unearth itself in this moment of despair? As the weight of her sorrow pressed down on him, he caught a reflection in the window. A figure stood outside, cloaked in the darkness, a shadow watching them. Derek's stomach twisted. He could feel a chill creeping down his spine, an instinctual dread that something sinister lurked just beyond the glass. "Who was that?" he asked, panic rising in his throat. Sarah's gaze flickered to the window, and she gasped, her breath hitching. Derek's hands balled into fists, ready to protect, ready to confront whatever horror awaited them. But the figure vanished, swallowed by the night. Just as quickly as it appeared, it was gone. "Mom, talk to me," he pleaded. She opened her mouth, as if to speak, but no sound came out. Instead, her eyes widened even further, and she fell back against the wall like a marionette with severed strings. Derek's heart raced, racing against the clock. What secret lay buried? What truth could shatter the carefully built facade of their lives? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Derek felt a lump in his throat as he turned back to his mother. "Please, Mom, I need you to tell me what's happening." His voice cracked, raw with emotion. Would the truth bring them together or tear them apart? Silence enveloped them, heavy and painful. As he looked into his mother's eyes, the storm inside him raged. There was a secret waiting to be revealed, a past that reached out to tug at them both. The hairs on the back of his neck stood on end. Nothing would be the same again. Not after tonight. What was hidden in the shadows of their past? What truth would they uncover, and would it haunt them forever? The stillness shattered as Sarah gasped again, her eyes darting, searching for something in the void of Derek's gaze. For a moment, he thought he could hear her heart beating like a drum in the suffocating silence. The photograph slipped from her fingers, fluttering down to the carpet like a fallen leaf, revealing its face, a younger version of her, smiling bright, beside a man Derek didn't recognize. "Mom, who is he?" Derek's voice trembled slightly. He picked up the picture, staring hard at the man's features. There was a resemblance, a sharpness to the jawline, and a sparkle in the eyes that mirrored his own. A chill gripped him. Her breath quivered as she spoke. That was before everything changed. The tremor in her voice twisted Derek's gut, forcing him to confront the depth of her pain. "Before your father, before the accident." "Accident?" he echoed, confusion clouding his mind. "What accident? Mom, what did I miss?" The room felt like it was closing in around them. Shadows trapped them within the walls, whispers of things unsaid gnawing at his sanity. He set the picture down, the sight of his mother's brokenness too much to bear. It's too late to change the past. Derek, she whispered, her voice cracking under the weight of regret. But what I never told you, what I hid from you. What? Panic clawed at him, the need for answers spiraling out of control. Suddenly, something outside caught his eye again. The figure. It was there again, just outside the large window, a silhouette shrouded in darkness. Ignoring his mother's protests, he dashed to the glass, heart racing. But the figure slipped away like smoke, dissipating into the night before he could get a good look. "Stay back," he shouted, turning his anger back to his mother. "What are you not telling me? I couldn't protect you from him. I thought I could save us." The desperation painted across her face tore through him. He had never seen this side of her, so raw, so vulnerable. Who do you mean?" Derek's desperate pleas hung in the air, a haunting echo. But just then, the lights flickered and the atmosphere thickened. The door slammed shut with a bone-rattling thud, a gust of wind that seemed almost unnatural. Fear coursed through him, each pulse thrumming louder than the last. He turned to his mother, who was now pale as a ghost, clutching a necklace around her neck, a tiny charm glimmering under the dim lights. "I shouldn't have come back," she mumbled, quick breaths barely forming full sentences. "Back from where?" "Mom, it's becoming impossible to understand." "Start talking. I made a deal." "Derek," she spoke slowly, deliberately, as if every word was a pebble slipped into a vast chasm. "A deal to protect us, but at a price." The flickering lights dimmed to near darkness, and dread pooled in the pit of Derek's stomach. "A price." Before she could respond, a sound shattered the tension, a sharp rapping at the door. They both froze, dread coursing through them as they exchanged fearful glances. Time hung in the air, thick and unyielding as Derek approached the door. The memories of shadowy figures and whispered secrets surged in his mind. "Who is there?" he shouted, trying to muster courage. There was no response, only silence, a silence so deep it felt like a chokehold. But then, a voice, low and menacing, broke through the stillness. "Let me in, Derek. It's time to face what you fear the most." His heart sank. Who was behind that door? As he reached for the handle, a sense of foreboding wrapped around him, threatening to pull him under. What awaited him beyond that threshold? And how entwined was this stranger's presence with the dark truths of his family? The shadows stretched on, secrets intertwining in the air. Nothing would ever be the same again. Derek's hand hovered over the doorknob, trembling. Each beat of his heart resonated like a countdown, a warning of what lay beyond that barrier. He swallowed hard, desperation clawing at his throat as he turned back to Sarah. "Mom," he pleaded, his voice cracking. "What do I do? Who is it?" The look on her face was one of pure terror, the shock evident in her wide eyes. "It's him, Derek. It's the man from the photo." A chill washed over him, the world around him fading as he grappled with the implications of her words. The image of the smiling man now morphed into something sinister. "Why do I have to face him? You said you made a deal." His voice rose, the tension in the air buzzing like static. "What deal? What did you do?" But before she could answer, the voice outside called again, deeper and more insistent. "Derek, let me in. I'll come for you." He pressed his back against the wall, his pulse roaring in his ears. "No, I can't do this." The door felt like a portal to a nightmare, and there was an urge to flee, to escape whatever darkness lurked behind it. Sarah took a step forward, her hands trembling. "Derek, listen to me. I wanted to protect you. I thought keeping you away from him would keep you safe. But the deal, it made him stronger. We can't hide from him." "Hide from who? Just tell me everything." Another pounding sounded at the door. With it came a rush of cold air, filling the room with a sense of foreboding that seeped into his bones. The lights flickered again, casting eerie shadows that danced around them. "I was desperate after the accident." She hesitated, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I was willing to do anything to save us, to make sure you had a chance at life." "What are you saying?" His voice was barely above a whisper, edging on the brink of panic. "I made a pact," she finally admitted, her voice shaking. "I promised him something I thought was worth the price. A dark realization spread through Derek, wrapping around him like icy fingers. What did you promise? I promised him your future, Derek. Me? The air vanished from his lungs, leaving only a suffocating emptiness behind. You gave away my future? Suddenly, the door rattled violently, a desperate force pushing against it. The hinge creaked ominously, and Derek stumbled backward as he and his mother exchanged horrified glances. We have to get out, Sarah screamed, whispering urgently. We need to leave now. But before they could react, the door burst open. The figure loomed large in the entrance, a silhouette wreathed in darkness, with eyes that glowed like embers. Derek, the voice, was smooth, yet laced with an underlying threat. You and I have much to discuss. Fear drove the blood from Derek's face. He instinctively shoved his mother behind him, a protective stance that felt futile in the face of this looming threat. Stay away from her. The figure chuckled, a low rumble that made the hair on the back of Derek's neck stand up. Ah, but you see, she's the one who invited me back. This is not just about you anymore. What do you want with me? Derek demanded, his voice shaking, though he struggled to maintain defiance. Your mother thinks she can shelter you from the truth. But it's time for you to emerge from the shadows. It's time for you to embrace your destiny. Every instinct screamed at him to flee, to escape the nightmare that had become his reality. But a deeper part of him knew the truth. There was no escaping. Not now. As the figure stepped forward, the room around them seemed to constrict like a noose, tightening, the weight of unseen forces pressing in on all sides. With each moment, Derek felt the cold grip of fear clawing deeper into his consciousness. Mom, what can we do? He gasped, feeling the walls closing in. Those glowing eyes bore into his soul. But Sarah could only shake her head, tears streaming down her cheeks as desperation took control of the moment. Face it, Derek. It's time to learn the truth. Derek's heart raced, reality crashing down around him. There was no turning back now. But as he braced himself for what lay ahead, a flicker of hope sparked in his chest. Could he confront the shadows of his past and save himself from the price of his mother's choices? A heavy silence fell over them. What would be revealed in the depths of that darkness? And could it really change his future forever? Derek felt the air thin as the figure loomed closer, its presence suffocating and dark, like a storm cloud ready to burst. The glowing eyes studied him with a predatory intensity, and Derek's body tingled with an instinctual urge to flee. He felt frozen. His mother's tears streamed down, amplifying the overwhelming atmosphere of dread that wrapped around them like a thick fog. Speak, boy, the figure commanded, its voice smooth, yet it dripped with malice. You deserve to know your purpose. You're standing on the precipice of your legacy. Legacy? Derek's voice trembled, the word tasting bitter on his tongue. What do you mean? The pact your mother made is a thread woven deep into the fabric of fate, into your very being. To fulfill it, you must embrace what waits inside you. What is an eternity of darkness? Derek abruptly shouted, feeling a fire ignite in his chest, an unexpected rush of anger. I didn't ask for this. The figure stepped into the room, the darkness coiling around it like a serpent. Ah, but you were called, whether you acknowledge it or not. The choice is yours. Do you reject this power and forever cower in the shadows? Or do you wield it? Wield what? He pressed, pulse racing faster than his thoughts. What power? Your father, the word echoed in the room like an explosion, halting Derek's breath. What? Your father was not just a man. He was part of a legacy far beyond what you can comprehend. A legacy that now belongs to you. Images flooded Derek's mind, snatches of memories he couldn't quite grasp. A man he barely remembered, dark hair and stormy eyes, a brief flash of laughter before it turned to smoke. Sarah's face twisted in pain, but it was nothing compared to what Derek felt like. It was his father they were talking about, a ghost that haunted his psyche. You knew? He stammered. You knew all along? It was never our intention to burden you with the truth too soon, Sarah whispered, casting a glance toward the figure. I wanted to protect you. Protect? That essay lie. Derek snapped, his heart racing against the truth weighing on his chest. What kind of protection is this? Telling me I'm a part of some dark legacy? Open your eyes, boy, the figure interjected, the room growing still and the air thickening. Power is not to be feared. It can lead you to greatness, or it can pull you to the darkness. Why are you doing this? Derek yelled defiantly, backing away. What do you really want from us? From you. I want nothing but your acceptance. From your mother, oh, I have yet to collect. Fear surged through Derek, tinged with betrayal. You can't have her. She has done enough. Enough? Oh, dear boy, you don't know the half of it. The figure's laugh echoed, sharp and cruel. But the truth is coming. You can't shield her forever. The pact demands its due, and it has no mercy. Derek's mind raced, the looming shadows wrapped tighter around him. Pieces scattered across his memory began to form an uneasy whole, and he couldn't shake the feeling it all led to something horrific. Mom, what did he mean? What's next? He pleaded, his voice breaking. Hush, Derek, we need to leave. It's not safe here. But the figure laughed again, a sound that struck like a whip through the air. You think you can run? The darkness can't be outrun, my dear boy. It follows. It always finds you, and it's already here. As the walls of the room began to shift, warping with shadows and eerie whispers, Derek suddenly understood this was no longer just about facing a man at the door. This was about a destiny entwined with darkness and light, a relentless chase through the unknown depths of his very forebears. In that moment of heart-racing realization, Derek caught hold of his mother's arm. We face it together, he insisted, determination unfurling in his chest. But as the shadows thickened, murmurs and laughter slipped through the cracks, carrying secrets that stretched far beyond his comprehension. What awaited them in the depths? Would Derek truly unlock his legacy, or would the shadows consume them both? Derek's heart thudded in his chest as the shadows swirled like living entities, hungry for light, for fear. He could feel the energy shift around them, coiling tighter, suffocating. Sarah's grip tightened on his arm, her gaze darting around the dim room, as if she too sensed the impending storm. We have to go, she urged, voice strained yet resolute. Now! But Derek couldn't move. The figure loomed menacingly, its form growing ever broader, a shadow stretching across the walls, consuming everything in its path. Derek swallowed hard. I have to know, he shouted over the whispering winds of darkness. What did my father do? What does it mean for me? The truth, dear boy, the figure replied, its voice silky and sinister. The truth binds you whether you wish to acknowledge it or not. You are a key to a door that many wish to remain locked. Stop, Sarah cried. You don't understand, Derek. It's not safe. But we can't run away, can we? Derek pushed back, defiance rising within him like steam from boiling water. The thing has already taken so much from us. Mom, I can't just forget. The figure stepped forward, its eyes a blazing furnace, burning with an unholy light. You seek answers, but be warned. Knowledge comes with a price. The chains binding your legacy are forged in blood. Blood? Derek felt cold wash over him. Memories flickered through his mind like a film reel. His father, the shadows surrounding him, the feeling of being watched, even in his dreams. What did he do? Your father made a choice, the figure hissed, filling the air with a sense of looming inevitability. A dark pact to protect your family. The first step in a series of sacrifices, his soul for your safety. Sacrifices? Derek echoed, confusion warping into disgust. And now it's my turn? Only if you choose to embrace your bloodline-esque legacy. The figure savored its words like a chef tasting a fine wine. You were chosen to inherit both power and peril. You have it within you. No, I don't want it. Derek recoiled, feeling adrenaline churn in his stomach, a battle of fear and anger waging inside him. I just want to live my life. You cannot run from what you are. Your father's shame is burdensome, but you can rise from the ashes, it said. All it takes is a simple acceptance. Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled, and the figure faltered for a moment, its form wavering. Derek could feel the shadows retracting, almost cowering. What was happening? Derek, we need to move, Sarah urged, tugging at him fiercely. No. He shook his head, desperate for clarity. If I just accept it, if I embrace it, that's not how legacies work. Look around you. The darkness is suffocating. His mother's panic ignited a blaring alarm in his head. But the figure smiled darkly, exuding keen satisfaction. See? Even now, a battle rages within you. Which one will you choose? Respect or rebellion? A sudden flash illuminated the space, casting a blinding light that momentarily dispelled the shadows. And there stood a door at the center of the room, ancient and foreboding. Derek's heart raced. Behind it lay all the answers. Mom, what if we're meant to go through? What if it's the only way? No, Sarah shouted, an unmistakable fear flashing in her eyes. Every door comes with a cost. With the shadows regaining composure, they pressed in like a living wall, and Derek felt the weight of choice heavy on his shoulders. Did he dare open that door? His pulse pounded in his temples. What if you're wrong? A whisper crept through the haze of uncertainty. What if? The figure lunged forth with a growl, teeth bared. Shadows swirled, reaching for him with unnatural intent, eager to drag them into eternal darkness. Derek closed his eyes, his breath quickening. Would he be a hero in his story, or just another victim? Time slipped away as he extended one trembling hand toward the door, the shadows retreating just a moment longer, as if they awaited his decision. But a sudden realization struck him. It wasn't just about him anymore. It was about his mother and the pact. As the darkness encroached with urgency, Derek whispered, "We have to do this together, Mom. Trust me, would he find salvation in the depths of his legacy, or would the shadows lead them both astray?" Time was slipping fast, and the decision was racing toward him like an oncoming train. Derek's heart felt like a drum echoing in the suffocating silence. The air was thick, charged with tension, and the shadows, once distant, were now a creeping fog, brushing against his skin. He stood at the threshold of that ominous door, the weight of his mother's fear pressing down like a heavy blanket. "Forget the door, Derek," Sarah pleaded, her voice a mix of fear and desperation. "You don't need to know. Not like this." But could he just turn away? The petition echoed in his mind, tangled with the incessant whispers from the looming figure. "You feel it, don't you? A hunger for the truth?" It taunted. The voice slithered through the air, chilling him to the bone. Sarah's eyes shone with urgency, glistening like the surface of a still pond before a storm. If we open that door, there's no going back. In that moment of chaos, Derek understood. It wasn't just the truth about his father he sought, it was the key to ending this nightmare. The shadows surged forward, clawing and stretching, eagerly licking at his feet, while the door loomed tantalizingly, glowing with a forbidden light. With every ounce of willpower, Derek gripped Sarah's hand tightly. Together. His voice trembled, but rang with determination. "Derek, together," he repeated, more firmly this time. He glanced at the figure, which twisted and contorted like a beast in pain, its features shifting. Was it afraid? Without another thought, he turned the handle, feeling cold metal against his palm, heart racing as the door creaked open. The darkness behind it was thicker than anything he had ever known, but through the sliver of light, a soft whisper beckoned him. With a deep breath, he stepped inside, dragging Sarah along, unwilling to either break their bond or confront this darkness alone. The air inside was alive, crackling with energy, yet stifling. They found themselves in a narrow corridor lined with doors on both sides, each adorned with strange symbols and names that seemed to writhe and pulse. It felt like stepping into the mouth of a great beast. "What is this place?" Sarah's voice barely broke the tension as they moved cautiously forward, heartbeats thrumming in tandem, drowning out the morbid serenade of shadows closing behind them. Derek's gut twisted as dread settled in. "It has to be related to my father. This is his legacy." What did that even mean? Just glimpses of what lay beyond each door made his flesh crawl. He could feel the weight of the night bearing down heavily, pressing his resolve. Then, as they ventured Deeper into the corridor, one door stood out shimmering like the night sky, sprinkled with silver stars. A name etched just above the handle, a name he recognized all too well. Father. He reached out, hand trembling, an unbearable mix of anticipation and trepidation bubbling inside. This is it, this is where it all began. Derek, wait, Sarah hissed, pulling him back. Don't do this alone. The shadows surged around them now, swirling like a tempest, muting everything but their breaths. Derek's mind was racing. His father had sought to protect their family, but at what cost? Was this door the ultimate salvation or the abyss? What do you want from me? He yelled into the whirlpool of darkness. What do you want from us? The figure emerged, blurry at the edges, but the heat of its gaze was palpable, searing into Derek's soul. Only that which you deny, and only you can set the chains free. Suddenly, the door began to jerk, like something or someone on the other side was fighting to get out. A low growl rumbled from deep within, and Derek felt his instinct scream for him to run. But he couldn't move, rooted by fear and the weight of his destiny. Derek, we can leave, Sarah pleaded, her voice trembling. But what lay behind that door felt magnetic in its pull, like a siren calling from the dark depths. Mom, if we don't do this now, whatever shadows haunt us will catch us anyway. As he grasped the handle tighter, the door shuddered, and a crack appeared, light spilling through. What awaited them on the other side was shrouded in mystery, but Derek knew one thing, knowing that truth might seal their fate. Was he ready to face it? In that moment, before he could answer, the door burst open, revealing an abyss filled with chaotic energy that drew him closer. Would he embrace the shadows or fight them, regardless of the consequences? The decision loomed like an executioner's axe as he prepared to leap into the unknown. The door exploded open, revealing a maelstrom of blinding light mixed with dark shadows swirling around them. It felt as if a storm had unleashed itself within the confines of that corridor. Derek and Sarah were blasted backward, landing hard on the ground as the fabric of reality twisted violently before them. Derek's heart thundered in his chest. The world around him spun, and for an instant he felt weightless, as if he'd been thrown into an endless void. The whispers grew louder, drowning out all coherence, spiraling into a chaotic symphony of fear and despair. Derek staggered to his feet, instinctively shielding Sarah with his body. What is happening? She shouted, her voice laced with terror. We have to get out. The shadows danced menacingly, inching closer like figures poised to pounce. Stay close, he ordered, the urgency in his tone mixing with a resolve he didn't know he possessed. They stumbled as they chalked up courage. Every moment felt as if they were being watched by unseen eyes lurking in the corners of the abyss. Before them loomed a swirling mass of darkness, pulsating with a sinister heartbeat. Each pulse echoed like a drum, resonating in Derek's chest, aligning with his own frantic heartbeat. You have to choose, a voice crooned from the darkness, cold and inviting. Step into the light, or linger in the shadows forever. Derek turned to Sarah, confusion clawing at him. What do we do? I can't stand still. Maybe it's not about an action, she suggested, her face pale but determined. We can't trust whatever this is. There's a choice to be made, a reckoning. With nods shared in silent agreement, they edged closer, both mesmerized and horrified by the force before them. Derek's mind flooded with haunting memories of his father, of the man who had been a shadow himself for too long. He recalled the fleeting moments of clarity between his father's long bouts of emptiness, a man fighting unseen demons, his face echoing both love and despair. Why did you do this? Derek shouted to the void. You dragged me here, so you must have answers. The mass of shadows wavered, then grew still, as if considering his words. It is not about answers. It's about confronting your fears, the truth of your lineage. Your destiny is intertwined here for a reason. Destiny? Sarah interjected, her voice rising above the murmurs. What does that even mean? Your father's legacy is bound by the actions he took in this realm. But those actions have chains that you must break. A vivid image flashed in Derek's mind, his father crumbling along with any sense of rationality, consumed by something darker than himself. A hollow laugh escaped the shadows, echoing mockingly. Face it, you can't escape your past. But if you leap into the light, you risk losing everything, including each other. Derek's breath hitched. What do you mean? At that moment, he felt an incredible pressure building in his chest, the weight of it as tangible as the darkness surrounding him. The shadows pushed closer, nibbling at the edges of their sanity, threatening to engulf them. But that extreme urgency rekindled a flicker of defiance. In that split second, he remembered his mother's face, the silent tears she had shed, the fear she had harbored for too long. "I won't let this define us," he declared, his voice steadying, heart swelling with an unexpected courage. "We'll break these chains. Together," Sarah affirmed, her spirit rising to meet his. They clasped hands tightly, charging toward the pulsating light that promised release from the torment. With a sudden rush, they broke through the threshold, colliding with a blinding luminosity as the echoes of their cries faded. But just as swiftly, the ground fell away, and darkness surged around them once more as the shadows coiled up and their forms melded with uncertainty. The last words echoed ominously. "You will have to confront your father and the choices he made." Suddenly, everything went black. What had they unleashed? Where were they now? The question hung in the air, thick with desperation. Had they truly embraced their fate, or were they merely stepping into a deeper abyss of shadow? The darkness enveloped them completely, a suffocating blackness that pressed against their skin like icy fingers. Derek's pulse raced, each beat a reminder of their frailty amidst the chaos. He reached for Sarah, relying on the warmth of her hand to tether him to reality. "Can you hear me?" he said, his voice barely more than a whisper, swallowed by the silence that surrounded them. "I'm here," she replied, her grip tightening as if she feared he might slip away. Somewhere, a low hum resonated, a haunting melody laced with an eerie familiarity. "Where are we?" Derek felt a wave of panic rise in his chest. This feels wrong, so wrong. Suddenly, flashes of light erupted around them, illuminating fragmented images. Faces appeared, ghostly figures caught in a perpetual dance of sorrow and rage. Derek recognized them, shadows of the past. His father, his mother, and others he had long buried in the recesses of his mind. "Derek!" Sarah's voice broke through the haze, filled with urgency. "Focus. We have to find a way out of this." He fought to center himself, feeling the vibrations of their collective agony reverberate throughout the void. Then, unexpectedly, a vision unfolded. He found himself standing in a dimly lit room, his father pacing anxiously, the scent of stale whiskey thick in the air. Derek's heart sank as he recalled the nights he had been woken by muffled sobs and shouts of father wrestling with demons that had stolen their family's peace. "Why did you choose this life?" The boy he once was cried out, tears streaming down his cheeks. "Why couldn't you fight harder?" "Because it was already too late for him." Sarah's voice broke his reverie. In this surreal realm, she stood beside him, stronger than before, a beacon of light amidst their darkness. "What do you mean?" Derek was caught off guard, bewildered by her insight. "They're trapped, Derek. And so are we. Until we face the truths they left behind," she urged, her eyes slicing through the haze. The shadows around them writhed in response. Derek felt an invisible force tugging him toward the vision, urging him to step into that painful memory. We need to confront his choices, our choices, he realized aloud, dread pooling in his stomach. If responding to the defiance in his voice, the room expanded, pulling them into a twisted version of their old home. The atmosphere felt thick with despair, every corner steeped in memories of failure and regret. And there it was, the familiar place where his father had fallen apart, where he had first witnessed the destruction of their family. "No," Derek gasped, his breath hitching painfully. "We can't. I can't go through this again." "But we have to," Sarah insisted. This is how we break the cycle. We have to understand what he did and why our lives turn out this way. The whispers intensified, spiraling into a crescendo that felt like a raw wound settling in the pit of his stomach. The shadows coalesced into a singular dark figure, the outline of his father emerging from the depths of despair. Derek, the voice, was hollow, echoing with regret and pain. I didn't want you to know the truth. I thought I was protecting you. Tears streamed down Derek's face as anger and sorrow collided within him. Protecting me? From what? From you? From yourself? From the consequences of a life lived in shadows. The figure of his father flickered, lost between worlds. You must see the choices I made so you don't repeat them. Derek felt the abyss pulling him in. What if I can't face it? What if it's too late? Then the cycle continues, came the somber reply, heavy with finality. As the darkness shifted restlessly, wrapping around Sarah and Derek once more, a flash of light appeared in the center of their fragmented reality. They stood at a crossroads, one path leading deeper into the shades of despair, the other a glimpse of clarity gleaming with a familiar light. Choose. The voice rang out, transitioning into haunting whispers. Which will you embrace? With a fierce heartbeat echoing in their chests, Derek summoned every ounce of strength. The weight of choice bore down on him. They were standing on the cusp of history. Could they embrace the horrifying truth and change the fate that awaited them? Or would they yield to the shadows once more? Whatever happens, I'll choose with you, Sarah said, her voice unwavering as hope glimmered even in the midst of despair. Derek inhaled deeply, determination flooding through him. Together, he affirmed, and took a step toward the light, unsure of what lay beyond. But as they moved forward, the room shattered into thousands of shards, reflecting pieces of hope and terror, and one startling truth remained. They weren't alone. What had been lurking in the shadows, waiting for them? The world crumbled around them, the shards of light piercing the void like daggers. Derek and Sarah were swept up in a kaleidoscope of emotions: fear, grief, and a stirring resolve. As they gazed into the chaos, the shadows began rearranging themselves, the suffocating darkness melting away to reveal a dim hallway lined with old family photos. Derek, look. Sarah's voice trembled, pointing toward a flickering image that shimmered in and out of focus. A moment's silence fell over them as the sight solidified, forming the silhouette of a family gathered for a birthday party. Derek felt a rush of anger surge within him. Those moments they were supposed to be happy, he shouted, voice hoarse with rage. But they always ended in disappointment, didn't they? Focus. Sarah grabbed his arm, her grip fierce. We can't let emotions distract us. This is a chance to understand. A heavy sense of dread settled in Derek's stomach as the scene unfolded. He watched his younger self laugh, the cake smeared across his cheek, while his father, so proud, so full of life, held him up high. But then, the laughter turned to silence, replaced by faded memories of arguments and drunken rages. The image dissolved, and burned into the void emerged another nightmare. Are we supposed to find forgiveness for this? Derek whispered, almost to himself, bitter tears stinging the corners of his eyes. What you need to realize is that it isn't solely about forgiveness, Sarah replied, her voice soft yet unwavering. It's about understanding the reality you've been running from. As he battled the weight of sorrow, another figure stepped into view amidst the float of memories: his mother. She was trembling, her eyes wide and unbearable hollow. In that moment, Derek felt as if his heart would shatter. She looked like a ghost, lost among the remains of a life marred by broken promises. Mom? Derek's breath caught in his throat. Why couldn't you leave him? Why didn't you fight back? Derek, her voice echoed like a distant lullaby, haunted with unresolved ache. It was easier to stay. I didn't want you to suffer the consequences of our choices. I thought I was protecting you. Derek shook his head, the pulse of anger surging again, tougher this time. Protecting me? You allowed the chaos to continue. Suddenly, the shadows convulsed, the air thickening with an overwhelming presence. A dark figure emerged once more, and Derek recognized it the manifestation of their family's pain. This time, the figure was no longer only his father or the remnants of memories. It was the combined grief and suffering that had followed them, absorbing every ounce of joy. "No," Derek cried out, stepping forward defiantly. "You can't keep us trapped like this. I refuse to believe that this is all there is." "Then break free," the shadow roared back, its voice reverberating through the dark void. "But know that the truth will haunt you. Change comes at a cost." "What does that even mean?" Sarah shouted, her voice cutting through the chaos. "What do we have to lose?" The dark entity laughed a chilling sound that shook them to their core. It shifted back and forth like a pendulum, drawing strength from their surroundings. "Your past, your bonds. Embrace them and see your fate unfold." Derek exchanged a glance with Sarah, uncertainty flickering in his chest. "What if we can't bear the weight of the truth?" "We won't know until we confront it head-on," she replied, compassion seeping through her fear. "We're not alone. We have to fight together." With renewed determination, Derek stepped toward the looming darkness. "We choose to confront, to remember, and to release what held us here." The shadows swirled in a frenzy, threatening to swallow them alive as light cascaded through the intertwining darkness. And in that moment, clarity surged through the chaos like a blast of wind, revealing an unforeseen choice. Pull the truth from the shadows, or let the darkness consume them entirely. A fire ignited in the center as he raised his hand, and compelling whispers surged through the air like a siren-esque call. "Is this our final stand?" Derek shouted, staring into the murky depths. "Or will the truth shatter what binds us?" And in the eye of the storm, he felt the flicker of hope dissolve into uncertainty. A final echo reverberated in the emptiness surrounding them as fear morphed into fading shadows, igniting questions that would linger far beyond this moment. What was waiting on the other side of their choices? The chaos around Derek and Sarah began to recede as the shadows flared and the light surged forward, illuminating the dark corners of their past. The memories, like vibrant paintings, began to reveal the truths they had tried to evade for so long. Derek felt a swell of courage as he clutched Sarah's hand, her warmth grounding him in this whirlwind of emotions. Together, he whispered, the affirmation gliding on the whispers of fate that encircled them. The room transformed, shifting to scenes from their lives intertwined with the darkness they had feared. Derek stood at his childhood home, vibrant and alive, before it had crumbled under the weight of silence and secrets. There, he watched his younger self, laughter spilling from his lips as he rode atop his father's shoulders, the sky bright around them. But then shadows slithered in, tainting the joy. Voices of argument, harsh and biting, echoed through the past, wrapping layers of guilt around Derek's heart. The picture flickered, drowning in arguments over bills, slips into addiction, and the heart-wrenching moments that shattered the safety they once knew. Derek's fists clenched. "I can't keep reliving this," he said, voice strained. The shadow took shape again, a swirling mass of his father's regrets mixed with his own fears. "You must face me, understand the darkness to break free from its hold." The growl of desperation trembled in the air. "No," Derek cried, stepping forward, fiercely rejecting the pain. "This isn't who we are. Dad, you had a choice." Sarah's grip firmed around his wrist, an anchor grounding him against the tempest that threatened to swallow them whole. The shadows quivered, as if rattled by Derek's resolve. "Choose light over darkness. Son, find the truth, and free yourself from the chains that bind." "I don't want your chains." Derek shot back, anger mixing with sorrow. He turned to Sarah. "What if I can break this cycle? What if together we can rewrite the narrative?" "Then we have to confront these memories, hold them accountable," Sarah urged, her determination sparking a fire in Derek's chest. "It's not just our past anymore. It's about reclaiming our future." As they faced the looming darkness and the distorted figure of his father, Derek felt the swirling chaos settle into a pregnant stillness. The figure loomed close, flickering between geniality and wrath, like the specter of a past unchangeable yet attainable. Make your choice. It thundered, and a cacophony of memories flashed before Derek's eyes, his father at his worst, and at his best. For the first time, Derek saw the man he had known flawed and fractured, fighting demons while trying to be a dad. "I'm done running from you," Derek declared, stepping closer. "I'll confront the legacy you left, but it won't define me. I choose a different path." With that declaration, Derek felt the oppressive weight of darkness begin to lift. The room brightened, illuminated with the strength of understanding and acceptance. Sarah stepped beside him, merging their determination, drawing strength from the power of their bond. "No more secrets," she said, her voice ringing clear. "No more hiding." The figure shrieked, a blend of anguish and disbelief. "You dare defy the darkness? Your legacy comes at a cost." "No more costs," Derek shouted, and, as if responding to his resistance, shadows dissolved into ethereal light swirling around them. "We redefine what it means to inherit the past." Beneath Derek's feet, the ground trembled like an awakening beast, shaking off centuries of weight. The shadows that had thrived on secrets began to dissipate, their hold weakening under the brightness summoned from the depths of Derek's will. Together, hand in hand, they faced the culmination of their journey, inviting in the light that they had sought to escape. As the force of their decisions rippled outward, they could feel the dark tether of the past unravel. "Let the truth shine," Derek breathed out, fully embracing the legacy left to him. "Let us be the light that breaks this cycle." And just like that, the shadows exploded into a brilliant spectacle of light, incarnating hope. They were swept up together in a vortex of vibrancy, and when it settled, they stood not in the dimness of their history, but in the warmth of a new dawn free. The air was crisp, invigorating, and as they looked around, they found themselves standing in the meadow outside their old home, sunlight pouring down like molten gold. The burdens that had once shackled their hearts began to fade like the night. A soft breeze brushed against their skin, offering whispers of release and new beginnings. "I feel different," Derek said, astonishment filling his voice. "Because we chose differently," Sarah replied, a tear of joy glistening in her eye. "We can build something new together." And in that moment, amid a vast expanse of possibilities, Derek understood the past was part of him, a thread woven into his identity, but it no longer dictated his future. "Mom," he whispered, feeling the warmth of her presence filled with love and understanding. But as joy filled the air, a voice echoed softly from beyond the trees, a reminder of that intertwining fate. "This isn't the end, only a new beginning." They turned to face the world ahead, open and waiting. With the sun kissing their faces, legacy turned destiny through resolve. The end of one chapter and the thrilling promise of many more. If you joined this emotional roller coaster of a story, you need to subscribe now for more exclusive and gripping tales. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and show your love. Flood the comment section with all your reactions and theories, what resonated with you most. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this astounding conclusion. Your support means everything.